Good morning, Minnesota DFLers, and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Carlbaum here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Thank you for being with us each and every day at 1045, where we can give you the message, the action, and the tool to be empowered in this moment. Before we get into the call today, let's have some events coming up that I wanted to highlight for you. Today, we have an open office hours in Preston at the DFL office there at 5:30. Also tonight, we have a Greater Minnesota Candidate Forum at 7:30, organized by a bunch of folks in the DFL. Thank you for doing that. Tomorrow, you can join the Common Good Coffee Club in Isanti at 10 a.m. And there's also a rural rally for democracy in Chatfield at 5 p.m. And in CD4, we have a virtual phone bank tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. For more information on future events, please check out dfl.org/events. Okay, before we really get into the call today, I need to acknowledge and address the quote that Donald Trump posted overnight early this morning. It's really stunning to see the president of the United States say that, quote, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. He, of course, is talking about the people of Iran, and he's using language in terms that are dangerous, deranged, delusional, whatever language you want to use. The president has lost his goddamn mind, and we should all be concerned. This is unacceptable language. It is not leadership, and it just further alienates, the standing of our country across the world. And so, obviously, we're going to be tracking this closely, issuing the statements we need to issue. It all, just be honest with you, it all feels like not enough because this is such a untenable situation facing the world community. And it's being perpetrated by the president of the United States. We're going to call it out. We're going to elevate it and make sure that the American people are paying attention to it. He says these things with impunity, and we have to make sure that there is real punishment and consequences for the language he chooses. This is from a guy who promised no new wars. And I want to say what's really frustrating is that Minnesota elected Republicans are completely silent. They won't say a darn thing to push back, and they're the ones who can push back the hardest, yet they remain silent because that's what they do. No leadership from Republicans in the state. They've been absent for a long, long time. We deserve a Republican Party with a spine to stand up to illegal, unhinged behavior from Donald Trump. That's just not what we have. Completely spineless Republican elected officials and party leadership. Okay, we're going to transition back to the conversation that is at hand this week. Yesterday, Jim walked you through the reasons why costs are rising. Our message memo for this week is talking about the choices behind rising costs. Rising costs don't just happen. They happen because there are policy choices being made. And now today we're focusing on how to talk about those choices in a way that actually connects with voters. Not overly technical or abstract, just clear, real, grounded in what people are feeling. So there's a formula here that you can keep in mind, and we can post this in the chat as we go. As we always say, it is so important to keep writing a post, keep it simple and consistent. Here are the 4 steps. So first and foremost, meet people where they are. Start with what people are already feeling. The costs are increasing, but my budget is getting tighter. And every day I feel pressure that one sickness or one illness is going to put us further behind, right? So meet people where they're at in terms of what they're personally experiencing. Number 2, name that harm. Be clear about what's happening and who's responsible. These aren't random trends. They're the result of specific choices that Trump and Republicans are making. The decision to start a tariff war with other countries has increased costs. The war of choice in Iran, and the increasing consequence of that on the cost of fuel and energy, transportation, is all increasing the cost of our groceries and the cost of our goods that need to make it to market. We need to be clear about who is responsible for that choice, and that choice is Donald Trump and being rubber stamped by Republicans, both in Congress and at the state level. And most harmfully, I think they're actually being defended. Donald Trump is being defended Every time an independent voter sees who they see as a rational Republican defend Donald Trump, that actually is impactful. So we need to hold them accountable for doing just that. Um, Focus on values-based solutions, grounded in what we believe. People deserve affordable health care. We deserve a stable cost in terms of our groceries and an economy that works for them. You know what? A young couple today or a young family in their mid 30s shouldn't have to wait until they're 50 years old in order to buy a house. We need to figure out how to make housing more affordable so that and more accessible so that young people can buy a house sooner, right? It was the previous generations were able to purchase a house when they're young, build equity in that asset, and then ultimately that is how they continue to climb the economic ladder. That's broken. That opportunity for today's young people, today's young family, instead of waiting till they're 30 to 35, they're waiting until they're 45 to 50 to buy their first home. That's unacceptable. And as Democrats, we have to talk about it in those real terms so that they understand that we're ready to do everything we can to fix that broken promise. And then finally, call to action. This is a chance to give people something to do. Comment, share, speak up, get involved, show up. I was talking to Chantel Oxley last night, who's the chair of CD6, and she was on her way back from a city council meeting. There's a city council member up there in St. Cloud doing some really reprehensible things, and she showed up and she challenged others in her community to show up and call attention to that behavior. And that is how you create change. You highlight the thing that needs to change, you put pressure on others to encourage that change, and then you follow through by asking others to take an action. Last week, some of you may have seen that we gave an example of what this formula looks like in practice when it comes to call to action. We said costs keep skyrocketing, and now Trump cut your health care to fund his war. Minnesotans deserve health care, and we're working to protect it. That is a way in which, and then you can say, tell us in the comments how rising costs are affecting you, right? This is that formula that we just laid out. Number one, meet people where they are. Number two, name that harm. Number three, values-based solutions. And then number four, that call to action. It starts with real life, not policy language. It clearly names the cause, not just the harm, not just the symptom. And then it reinforces shared values, and it invites people into the conversation by taking an action. Okay, for action today, because we always give you an action that you can take one of the affordability issues we covered last week. Those were food, healthcare, housing, and education. And write a post using this formula. Write a post using this formula that conveys your connection to the issue itself and your understanding of how to connect with people. Keep it simple, keep it real, and keep it grounded in what people are experiencing. And most importantly, hit post. You can draft it, you can think about it, but definitely hit post and make sure that people see it. Okay, thanks everybody for your time today. We have 210 days until the November 3rd midterm election. We are building this largest electoral defeat of a sitting president in the history of Minnesota midterms. Let's go win this thing. Thanks, everybody.